Hello, and welcome back to another Paladin solo dungeon video. Today we're going to be looking at one of my favorite dungeons in the game that is actually 4 different dungeons in one. That is the Scarlet Monastery. We're going to be starting in the lowest level part of the Scarlet Monastery, the Scarlet Graveyard. The Scarlet Monastery also contains the Scarlet Library, which is the second to lowest level, the Scarlet Armory, which is the second highest, and the Scarlet Cathedral, which is the highest level for this dungeon. What's really interesting about the Scarlet Monastery is that all 4 wings share the same lockout. So if you complete all 4 wings and then reset, that only counts as 1 dungeon for the day. So if you're looking to clear out a dungeon just for raw gold, or you are looking for drops of this specific eye level, this is a great place to go. So, as always, make sure that you have your Blessing of Sanctuary on, as this is one of the biggest damage mitigators you have. As always, we have our trusty Demon Forge breastplate and our Skull Flame shield to heal us. Now, again, you do not have to be as geared as I am to run this place. I used to solo this dungeon with far lesser gear than I am currently using. But of course, the more gear you have, the easier this is going to be, and you can also compensate with your consumables. Now, what's weird about the Scarlet Graveyard is these first 2 minions, they will not follow you. They will always reset back to that position. I don't know why, it's just a leash trigger that they have. So what's nice is that these are around level 31, meaning that they are not that much higher level than the mobs on the right side of stockades. So you're going to be taking about the same or a little bit less damage than in the stockades, because many of these mobs are actually casters. And of course you have an incredibly high chance to resist anything coming from one of the casters. Now, if you're doing a carry, you can go ahead and put on your Retribution Aura, but I recommend keeping your Devotion Aura up. That way, the non-elite mobs, like the ghosts, don't die before you can drag them back to the beginning of the instance. This ensures that it's more loot that you don't have to run and go get, therefore wasting time. There is a good chance that most of the ghosts will die before you get back to the start of the instance. This is because your Skull Flame shield Flame Strike. It procs a pretty hefty amount of damage, and frankly you can already see some of the ghosts are already quite low on HP. There's really nothing you can do about it. But if you do kill the blue ghosts, they actually respawn very quickly. So there's a chance that when you kill them, you'll be able to pick up another pack on your way back. This is good extra experience for the people that you are carrying, and it can potentially be even more drops. What's also nice about the graveyard is that there are rare spawns in here, and those rare spawns drop incredibly good loot for their eye level and level. I believe in Phase 5 they've actually increased the chance of the rare spawns. When I boost my guildmates through this dungeon, we have gotten incredible luck at having the rare spawns appear. Aside from that, this is pretty similar to the stockades, which of course if you'd like to see the stockades run, I will link that in the description down below. You're simply, as you can see, yeah, there it is. We just had 2 Flame Strike procs, and that killed some of the mobs. Again, it's not a big deal, it just means that you're not going to be able to loot those if you want to save time and just keep the run going. Now, of course, this place is not going to give as much experience as SM Armory, but for people who are in their late 20s and early 30s, for the amount of mobs that you pull, this is wonderful experience just because of the sheer amount of mobs that you are pulling. Also, there are many really good twink items that can drop in here. The most notable is the Butcher, which is a one-handed sword for rogues and hunters. I believe the last one I sold for 25 gold, which is not bad considering the amount of raw gold and other twink items that can drop in here for the 29 bracket. The other thing that's nice about the ghosts in here is that they are not elite, so they don't hit very hard compared to elite mobs. And on top of that, they still have the same chance to trigger either your armor or your shield heal. So, as you can see, we've got a nice conga line, and some of the ghosts have actually already respawned. If you want to, you can pick them up. For me, it's not really worth the time. I just keep on running. And yeah, as you can see, we have a really, really nice group following us. And the damage is simply not enough to where, you know, we don't have to strafe run. So, the other part that is incredibly fun about SM Graveyard is that they are undead mobs. So you get to utilize Holy Wrath. Oh, that always feels incredibly good doing that. So that is going to kill off a lot of the undead mobs really fast, and we can swap back over to Retribution Aura, but honestly, that Holy Wrath did so much damage, it's not really going to matter. It speeds this up significantly. Let's move around. And we can start hitting Thalnos and start exercising him so he dies about the same time as everything else. The humans will run away and start casting at you, but normally they're pretty low health, and of course you're just going to resist everything that they do. And just focus on getting Blood Mage Thanos dead. So now all you have left is some incredibly low life humans who have run away. Drop a Consecrate, melee them down, and you're done. And you're done with Graveyard in 5 minutes. And that's without any consumables. So, when we come back, we're going to go ahead and look at how fast we can push this run with just a few cheap consumables. Welcome back. We are now going to see how fast we can do this dungeon with just a couple cheap consumables. The first and most important for increasing our speed is Swiftness of Zanza Potion. Again, the bijous that you turn in to get this potion are so cheap right now. Most places you can get them for under a gold. Oops. Next is our Arcane Elixir. Again, I spent about 1 gold. And finally, the Lesser Wizard Oil. These go for insanely cheap, and actually, I got a bunch of them for free from friends who were leveling their enchanting. So, let's go ahead and see how fast we can do this dungeon now. Let's go ahead and reapply our Blessing of Sanctuary and see just how fast we can get this done. Same as always, these mobs do not hit very hard, so strafe running really is not that necessary. If your gear is not as good as mine, then of course you should do it just in case, but I think I've earned the right to be a little bit lazy. Of course, we're going to get stuck on a candelabra. The candelabras are really annoying. That's the only thing I don't like about SM, is there are lots of pieces of items in the hallways that you can get stuck on. Again, let's go ahead and turn on our Devotion Aura so we are not killing the ghosts, and we can loot them at the very end, or if we have carries, they can loot them at the end. Same thing, if they are undead, we can just pull them with our Exorcism and keep on running. Again, there are tons of mobs in this dungeon. Unfortunately, they do not drop a lot of raw gold. You get a little bit over 2 gold per run in raw. And there we go, we already have a rare spawn. The items that he dropped can sell between about 50 silver and a gold, so that does help a little bit. But for the most part, this is not a super lucrative dungeon unless you are selling the runs for experience. I think if you get some greens and you get some decent grays to sell, you could make maybe 4 to 5 gold per run. And that might not sound like a lot, but again, you can do multiple wings and it's not going to take up very many of your dungeon slots for the day, because there is a maximum of 30. So you could go through, solo the Graveyard, solo the Cathedral, solo the Armory, which does take a little bit longer because of the healers, and that's only going to be 1 lockout. So if you have a lot of time to spare, or if you're a streamer, you can bring your Paladin in here and just farm away as long as you want. And again, there are plenty of twink items in here that do sell incredibly well. I believe another one aside from the Butcher is the Holy Mantle, which is a plus 22 healing helm, I believe, that sells incredibly well. There is also a healing chest that is cloth that sells quite well. So if you get lucky and you get even a few twink items per hour, you're looking at a decent gold per hour. And of course, Paladins right now do not have very many great farms, especially if your gear is not very good. Now that Landslide is gone, Dire Maul jump runs are about the best thing Paladins have right now. And again, if your gear isn't that great, this might be your best option. Again, we're going to pick up as many of these mobs as we can. And as you can see, we're already running down the steps within 3 minutes, so this is already a much faster run. We're going to go around, wait just a moment, and drop a consecration. Once everything gets here, we're going to go ahead and pop a bubble to avoid getting pushed back on our cast Holy Wrath, throw down consecration, wait for the bubble to end, and then throw down a grenade. And we'll start swinging. As you can see, almost everything is already incredibly low health. Iron Spine's gonna die here soon as well. Let's go ahead and find Thanos. He's a little hard to click on, and let's go and start exercising him down. Again, everything's dying nice and fast. We have the humans that are in the consecration. And we can also just turn back on Retribution Aura. Although again, most of our damage is coming from our consecration. Our consecration is also hitting way above what is normal for many. And all that's left is cleaning up a few of these last little humans. And that's it. That is the end of SMGY. So you can do these in about 4 minutes. Pretty quick. So, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, I stream every day at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST. If you have any questions, come visit me on stream and I'll be more than happy to answer any of them. Hope to see you there, and have a good one.